Kessler. Here. Collins. Here. Owen. Here. Sullivan. Lee.
Here.
Childers. Here. McGrath.
Here. All right. First up, tonight's agenda is 207's best. We'll start with Maine West.
My student is not here yet.
She's not here, so they will start with Maine East.
Well, my students' parents aren't here yet.
All right. You ready?
Ready to go? Who's myself?
Maine South.
All right, so we're proud to present Christina Carlson as Maine South's 207 Best for Academic Achievement. So, would you like to stand? So Christina, as tonight you'll see all of the students are among the tops in their class, but Christina has a GPA of 4.94 and a perfect 36 on her ACT. That's high as you can get. Of course, she's had all accelerated classes, including several AP courses, and the little fact that I like is she took AP Statistics as a sophomore, just because she's she's very math oriented. And she's been recognized for her work in multiple ways, member of National Honor Society, recognized as a National French Legrand Concours finalist in French language, and as a National Merit semifinalist. She's won the IHSA Scholastic Achievement Award and a Certificate of Excellence for Hawk Honors. And departmental honors also, not only in science, which is a strength of hers, but foreign language and social science as well as recognition in math as the Student of the Month. She's actively involved beyond the classroom as well. She's a member of Student Council, Key Club, Adventure Club, and Math Team. She's a PE leader. She's the Public Relations Officer for the French Club, who won one of our contests during homecoming. Window, so excellent. And the French editor of our foreign language magazine, Reaching. She gives back to her fellow students, too, as a math and science tutor in some of her free time. She's out in the community. She's been on mission trips to North Dakota and Michigan and participated in the National Youth Leadership Conference on Medicine and Health at Northwestern University. She's also a lacrosse player and an accomplished one. She's played varsity lacrosse for 3 years at Maine South and is a member of the AYLA National Lacrosse Team and is a CSL All-Conference Team member. So congratulations on that as well. Her teachers have the best thing to say, obviously. Mr. Tortorelli stated, she's really one of the brightest and most accomplished students that I've worked with. The best part is that she's very humble. Mr. Downing, her physics teacher and coach, she also ran track and cross country. She's an incredible student who puts whatever effort necessary to properly understand the course material. She's adept at putting together pieces of the puzzle. Her ability to integrate her outstanding math skills with scientific principles and physics was almost unmatched in her senior class. In the lab, she's very successful because of a unique ability to build a consensus within a group, and her lab partners are generally willing to listen to her opinions because of her strength as a student. But she's also willing to listen to the opinions of others. In this way, she's very good at building trust within a group, which ultimately ends up with a greater degree of success. Her athletic coaches note she has a quiet demeanor but is a fierce competitor. She competes very well and is an integral member of the varsity lacrosse program. She was instrumental in 2 seasons as a member of our top 12 varsity squad in the cross country. Basically, she's successful at whatever she attempts, says her teachers, but also is willing to take guidance, follows leadership well, and accepts setbacks and defeat in a positive manner. And in the end, she's basically one of the best kids in a school that produces great kids, says Mr. Downing. What strikes me about Christina when I had an opportunity to sit and talk a little bit is what she wrote when I asked her for some background information to write this letter. She wrote about her future, wanting to work with in an intellectually stimulating environment in a field which change is constant and exponential. What that tells me is that Christina is not only a lifelong learner, she's someone who realizes that being a lifelong learner is a necessity. Seeing this in a young person is exciting and assures me that Christina is destined for not only success in the future, but an incredibly satisfying future as well. She understands that curiosity is the wick in the candle of learning. With a work ethic that's and awareness such as this, there's no limit to the success that Christina can realize, and we're really looking forward to seeing what your future holds. So we're very proud that you are now one of 207's best. And so if you could stand and let us know who's here with you tonight, and also what are some of your plans for the future.
Well, thank you for this honor. This is my mom, Angie, and my dad, Phil. I'm applying to 8 colleges, including Washington University in St. Louis, Notre Dame, and Northwestern. And I'm thinking about majoring in either biomedical engineering or applied math.
All right.
We have now, normally we have, in addition to the certificate, a really cool paperweight. We don't have those tonight, but we will get those to you, so apologies if you actually not have your paperweights.
It's my honor to present to you Haripriya Mehta. We call her HP, so HP, say that. Stay standing so we can see. So HP, I use words like brilliant and smart, and I really felt like they didn't describe her well enough. HP has been coming to Maine West since she was in 6th grade. In 6th grade, she took accelerated geometry and trig and got an A. In 7th grade, she took accelerated math analysis and got an A. In 8th grade, she took AP Calc BC, our highest level math class, 8th grade, and she got an A. She's got the highest grade point average possible because she has all of those classes from 6th, 7th, and 8th grade with a 4.9577. She's got a perfect ACT score. She has not gotten less than an A in any course that she's taken at Maine West. Right now, as a senior, she's taking AP Lit and Comp, AP Psych, Project Lead the Way Computer Integrated Manufacturing, Project Lead the Way Digital Electronics, AP Environmental Science, and AP Macro Microeconomics. She also completed the highest level math class at Oakton this summer, linear algebra, which is the highest math class before going into theoretical math classes. And I was looking for a quote that describes Haripriya. She's on my principal's leadership team, and when she goes to solve a problem, you can actually see her thinking and going through all of the different ways to solve a problem. And F. Scott Fitzgerald said, the test of a first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold 2 opposed ideas in the mind at the same time and still retain the ability to function. She can hold a million different opposing ideas in her head and then spew out the best one. It's absolutely incredible. She juggles many roles and opinions. She's the vice president of the principal's leadership team. She's the president of the National Honor Society. And when we did the Strengths Finder test, her strengths came out as achiever, futuristic, a learner, restorative, and responsible. And she's truly all of those things. She just ran a book drive of, I call epic proportions, to bring books to Africa. She's also, and this is absolutely fantastic, she started the 3D Innovators Club, where she plans to work with the Project Lead the Way instructor, Mr. Peterson, to design and create a prosthetic hand for a senior student at Maine West who is a swimmer. He's a Special Olympian swimmer, he's a champion at the state level, but he does not have a right hand. Haripriya is creating one with him, and she's already got the prototypes done so that he can actually have a hand that functions and works. Absolutely amazing. This summer she worked on an independent study STEM project about Cisco networking on something called a Raspberry Pi, which is a credit-sized card computer at Oakton Community College. It's to detect Alzheimer's disease and other neuromuscular diseases through the eye, because she says eyes are the windows to many diseases. She then participated in something called a hack day at the Adler Planetarium. She proposed her idea, was selected as the project manager, and then got selected to move this project forward using a regular-sized computer. So we look forward to hearing how that goes. She works with the National Honor Society and the Voice for the Nameless, and she gives of herself both academically and out in the community, which is a really neat, caring and compassionate way to blend how smart she is with what's going on in society. Her science teacher, or social science teacher, says her written work is exemplary, and she will have an impact not only simply because she's so gifted intellectually, but because she's developing into a well-rounded human being with the soul, the mind, and the character of one who's motivated to do so for all the right reasons. Her other social science teacher, Mr. McClure, says there's no chink in her academic armor. She's got dogged determination in all areas of study. And so one might think she excels in math and science, but she obviously excels across the board. And then one last story I have to tell you. I met Hari Priya, I had seen her as a little one wandering the hallways. She just went to her class and got out. But when I saw her at 8th grade orientation, I had talked about a student who was applying to Harvard. And Hari Priya came up to me and she said, I'm going to do what that girl did. And sure enough, Hari Priya has done even more than that girl has done. I know that when she met the distinguished alum from last year, a professor in biochemical engineering at MIT, he said, and I'm going to quote this, "She is perhaps the most advanced thinker I have met at this age. I'm impressed." He asked me to let him know if she applies to MIT so that he can get her in there and work with him. So he's stayed in touch with me and asks me about her often. So we're very impressed with Hari Priya's work since the 6th grade. She's absolutely incredible, and she's definitely one of 207's. If you would tell us who's with you tonight, and then tell us what your plans are.
Okay, first of all, thank you to the board and my teachers and my school. My dad is here with me, my mom, she's in the back, and then my brother Bagheera.
And what are your plans?
So I haven't applied yet, but I'm thinking of a lot of engineering schools. One of the schools is MIT. But I hope that whatever school I go to, it's challenging and as well as nurturing as Maine West has been.
Yes. My pleasure to introduce to all of you Yash Patel. Yash. So Yash is near the top of our senior class with a GPA of 4.87. He's been very successful academically, taking sort of the whole host of AP and accelerated things since he's come in. He's also had some time in the schedule, so he's actually taking Introduction to Radio and TV this year. He's a senior leader in PE, and he's also taken advanced study in Spanish language prior to this year. He's a member of the boys varsity basketball team, and he's serving as a co-captain this year. And leadership roles at Maine East include he's co-president of the principal's leadership team this year. He's been a member of that for 3 years now. And is a member of the athletic advisory council at school, and has also been a participant and a facilitator in the Central Suburban League Leadership Conference in the past. I think that what I want to do is a lot of really nice things that teachers wrote, and I just want to take the last sentence or two in summary as sort of the condensed version here, and I think there are some themes. I'm talking Tomas Sentado, one of our Spanish teachers, said, "Sometimes I felt was not dealing with a high schooler, but rather with another adult." Excellent choice. In terms of his work last year in AP language, said his 5 on the AP exam came as no surprise. He integrated effective rhetorical strategies into his analytical writing and always kept his clear and authentic voice at the helm. Yash is definitely one of 207's best. I feel lucky to have had him in my class. That was Bob Brown, one of our English teachers. Mark Downer in our mathematics department said, "Yash is mature beyond his years, and I'm especially impressed that he is able to manage his time so effectively, balancing a rigorous academic schedule, athletics, and involvement in school activities, including R Code. Yash truly is deserving of being recognized as one of 207's best." He's also a member of the R Code panel at school, and Karen Taylor said, "Yash doesn't seek special recognition for tasks that she had described. It almost seems as if he does them without consciously thinking about them. It's just what he does, and it's just the right thing." I will read now what Judy Tyler, who is the program coordinator for Gifted Lyceum and Advanced Placement Bio teacher, and has had a chance to work with Yash, and actually is the person that nominated him specifically for 207's Best this month. Judy wrote, "Humble change agent is how I would describe Yash Patel. I've had him for more than 2 years, and in this time I've grown to know an incredibly passionate, intelligent, encouraging, and affable young man. He's a model student who has no personal agenda. In advanced placement biology, he creates change in others by modeling a hard work ethic and encouragement. In cooperative groups, I often hear him saying, "What do you think?" even though I know that he knows the answer. He intuitively meets his fellow classmates where they are and encourages high-level thinking through a natural way of questioning others that enhances learning. Yash always chooses the more challenging work in the class. In a recent lab of mathematical modeling, I'm about to say things that I do not understand, but I'll read them to you. Yash always chooses the more challenging work in the class. In a recent lab of mathematical modeling, the students were asked to model an evolution simulation by violating one of Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium constants. Yash took extra time to model 2 violations simply because he was interested in seeing the outcome. When working on cladistics, Yash tried all the very challenging cladograms from the University of California, Berkeley, worked at the most difficult gene frequency problems, and consistently pushed his group to think outside the box when working on an inquiry problem or laboratory experience. Inquiry and curiosity drives Yash Patel. During this past summer's disaster relief trip to Ohio, Yash was the one to volunteer and do every horrible job, ride in the van with the broken, meaning no air conditioning in 95-degree heat, and encourage others to perform the less desirable but sometimes more impactful work. On our 7-hour drive home in the heat, I asked Yash why he always made himself so available, and he responded simply, "I just want to make a difference." Recently, Yash and a couple of other students have decided to bring the school together in an all-school fundraiser that will adopt a village in Kenya. These few students are the backbone of the steering committee that is reaching out to the global community. They're in the early planning stages of this endeavor, but if I know Yash, it will be extremely successful. I got to know Yash when I was, at the beginning of the year, reach out and say, okay, who do I need to have on the principal's leadership team? And Mike Bender was just coming on as dean, but he had been the athletic director, and had had a chance to kind of see Yash and work with him as a freshman, and said, you need this guy in your leadership team. So, usually kind of quiet. There's usually a little bit of a sparkle in the eye there. The number of times I've seen him just step up when you need somebody to say something, do something. I mean, again, he's kind of like a servant leader, which is not a term that I think of when I'm talking about a high school senior. That usually is something I'm thinking of, somebody a little more life experienced. He's kind of an old soul, fun guy, good sense of humor, and I think very, very well respected by everyone who knows him, student and staff alike. He is one of those people, I think, that we're only going to know a lot of what he does quietly as a leader when it's not getting done next year because he's no longer at Maine East. But great guy, very proud of him, and certainly he does us all proud of Maine East. So congratulations. Who's here with you tonight?
Well, I have my dad here. She couldn't come to the numbers. This is my mom. They came here with me today. In terms of school next year, Washington University as well as Duke and Northwestern are my top 3. We'll see where I go, but I'm looking forward to it and kind of leaning toward economics as my major. Yeah, I'm not even taking econ this year, but it's math based and I love math and it interests me, the market, everything like that interests me. So that's looking like where I'm going to go, but we'll see.
Ask the students and the principals to step out for some pictures. This is your opportunity to leave the meeting. You're more than welcome to stay and come back in, but you could just step out and down for a minute. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Next up is public comments. I have one part. Mike Miller, please.
Good evening. Real quickly, I have members of our officers and building reps from the Maine Teachers Association here tonight. And we kind of put together a brief letter. I won't insult your intelligence and read it to you. But I will say that our goal is to establish some more open and direct line of communication with members of the Board of Education. About a year ago, we came and we presented report to you. And we thought, why wait until there's a specific need or cause? And we'd like to have more of the buildings at the coffees like we used to have before. And we'd like to set those up with you guys. We've included each of our phone numbers, so we're hoping that you guys will reach out to us, exchange phone numbers as you feel comfortable, and also know that we have no intentions of sharing them with anybody that's not on that list that you have there on that piece of paper. We've always enjoyed our working relationship with the board and the administration. This is not a drastic needs base, but members do have concerns and would like to see you guys either in the schools or outside the schools in some way, shape, or form. We can just kind of set up that open and informal dialogue between each other. If you have any questions, thank you, and have a good evening.
Thanks.
Next up, we have update from the superintendent.
Just very quickly, and there were a couple of members not at the meeting tonight, so putting in front of the board, due to the Illinois budget, which has not been passed yet, we may be bringing a recommendation next month or the month thereafter to pay for an ACT or an SAT, because the state of Illinois put an RFP out for that for all of our juniors this year to make sure that all of our students can take one of those tests this year. It's uncertain, both whether the state of Illinois will pass a budget, and it is also uncertain that even if they do pass a budget, that this item will be in here. So we have to make a decision before the end of the month with ACT in particular. So in all likelihood, probably in November, December, we will be bringing back a recommendation to pay for that. Probably the projected cost for this is in the $95,000 range. And this would hopefully be a one-year anomaly. If this looks like an ongoing thing, we would try to give advance notice to the board and build that into the budget moving forward.
Any updates from board members?
Oh, we made some thing, last week, Bernie and I and Connie were there, and it was really outstanding.
Finance committee update?
The Finance Committee met on September 24th at 5:30 p.m. All members were present. Gladly, the auditors made a presentation concerning the audit with no journal entries. And we issued an unmodified audit opinion, which is the highest rating you could possibly get, of course. We'd be surprised if we got anything less than that from Larry. The Finance Committee further reviewed the Insurance Committee's recommendation to give a 5.41% premium increase on the PPO, 11.52 premium increase on the HMO, with no changes to dental, life insurance, or long-term disability. I will discuss the implications of the agency, the type of community insurance at 6.4.
And will those items be, those items be on the agenda for vote tonight?
Yes, and they're recommended by the committee.
Thank you. Building and grounds.
Buildings Grounds Committee met for an 11-minute meeting on September 24th, commencing at 6:24 p.m. All members were present. Mary Blue gave an update on the Maine West Athletic Edition. There were some small change orders, nothing that required board attention or approval. There was some discussion about the relationship with the architect for future usage, and then the meeting was adjourned at 6:35.
Thank you. Education committee, Terry.
The Education Committee met today prior to this meeting for 45 minutes and discussed the possible need for paying for ACT tests for all students in the district due to changes in the state budget, as well as new course additions and consolidations among all three schools. And those will be included in the minutes?
They're in the board packet for tonight for first reading. And also the ACT report too.
I'm sorry?
We also looked at the ACT report.
Oh, and the ACT report across all three schools as well.
Thank you. Last but not least, policy committee?
I couldn't be here and I understand someone did. take care of
Policy
it.
committee met for briefly, I think started at about 6:42 this evening.
5:42.
5:42, apologies. Eastern time.
In that case, then your time is correct.
Okay. And we discussed three amended policies and one new policy. And it was a recommendation, if we want, access to district public records, copyright, was a new policy, drug and alcohol-free workplace tobacco prohibition, which was amended to include the new medical marijuana law, and graduation participation ceremony, amending some tweaking to conform a little bit better with Britain's law. And it was recommendation of the committee to bring it to the board meeting tonight for first reading. And we adjourned at 5.
Thank you.
And thank you for being here, so you could have that meeting.
2 of the 3 board members are committee members for presence.
Terrific, thank you, Paul. Monthly status of finances, Mary?
In your board packet is the August financial report. Both revenue and expenditures are in line with previous years and with the budget. There is not a lot to report so far this year. You'll see those funds that had summer projects, particularly O&M and fire prevention, life safety, a slightly higher expenditure, but of course those are due to the summer projects because summer is the main time that we spend those funds. I will entertain any questions that anybody has on the August financial report.
Any questions? Thank you very much. Next up is instructional services. Barb?
These are the reports that we spent some time on in the committee meeting, so I guess I'll ask if there are any questions on these. Just 30 seconds of a summary. The demographic report continues to show trends that we've seen in the past, a little bit of increasing diversity, increasing low income rates. Our ACT report is, again, pretty standard. We've got 9 national merit scholars and 5 new courses for you to consider for first reading. We'll bring those back in November, hopefully for approval.
Could you give us a kind of a 50,000-foot view of the new courses that
Sure.
are proposed?
Yes, the chart on the back of the first page is probably a good summary for you, in the section that you've got. Basically, it's 5 new courses being proposed. 4 of them are coming out of our Career Tech Ed department, who are the past year and a half and the next year and a half to go probably, are revisioning the Career Tech Ed department in alignment with the 16 career clusters. So you'll see some courses that have been eliminated and or replaced. Some have been shortened. Certainly all of them have been refreshed and reimagined to become more current with current standards in labor market detail, and as well as articulating open for certain certifications, and also AP courses that you can see capstone experiences. Those are 4 of the 5. That would be 3D animation, AP computer science principles, intro to ed, and robotics. And those align to the computer programming pathway, the ed career pathway, and the info tech pathway. The 5th course is an AP World History course that's being added to both South and West and eventually East. In one of the schools it's replacing AC's Accelerated World History at 1500, and probably in a year that goes well, it will also replace that similar course at West. You have a couple other course revisions in terms of length or title changes, and a couple courses that are being positioned as 2 semesters as opposed to a year-long. It's the Art 1 course, for example. So that's kind of a bird's eye view.
All right, are there any questions or comments? Thank you very much. Next up, have items, monthly FOIA, monthly update on FOIA requests.
Two requests this month, one has been responded to, and one's in the process of it.
Thank you. Next is Board of Education policies and procedures, first reading.
Yes, as you just heard Paula say, the policy committee met today and reviewed 4 policies, 3 of which are current policies that are being recommended for some revisions, either due to Press's quarterly update with their suggested revisions, or in response to our legal firm who has recommended a change to the graduation policy number 5229. The 4th policy, 3245 on copyright, is a new policy. And although it is new for us, it is an established press policy that we are going to be implementing, just so that we can have some clear guidance in relationship to the federal copyright law as it pertains to works for hire created by our staff members.
This is just a first reading, so if anyone has any comments or thoughts, they can get them back to you before the next board meeting.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Next up is the consent agenda. Can I have a motion for items 8A through G? Any comments before we take roll? Jenny, could you take the last one?
Sullivan.
Aye.
Owen.
Aye.
Lee. Collins. Childers. Bessler. McGrath.
Aye. Can I have a motion with respect to item 9A, policy 6830, waiver of school fees?
So moved.
Thank you. Any questions or discussion on this item? Here, if you could just remind me what the,
I'll leave it so.
What we did is we updated the policy and elected to use 98% of the press policy for waiver of school fees. Our legal counsel recommended that we include the sentence, the superintendent or designee shall not use this or any independent verification process for any purpose other than verifying fee waiver eligibility, and that is an attempt to show that we're not going to turn this over to other entities for status of citizenships or anything. This just brings our policy into alignment with press and with our practice.
thank you. Does anyone else have any questions or comments?
So, isn't the waiver associated with the free and reduced lunch or
Yes.
not? So you have to get the free and reduced, which comes first?
So, because we are not on the National School Lunch Program, we use one process for both fee waiver and approval for free and reduced lunch. So it's one application process.
So that, it's just a given then, whoever gets free and reduced lunch gets a waiver?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
We follow federal guidelines.
Are there any other questions? Hearing none, Jenny, will call roll, please.
Childers. Collins.
Aye.
Lee. Bessler. Owen. Sullivan. McGrath.
Aye. I have approval for, a motion for item number 10, approval of the 2014-15 audit. Second, Jerry, thank you. This is for both audits, the 207 and NSERC. Okay. Okay, well, sounds like the audits were impeccably clean and everything up to Mary's usual high standards. Are there any questions or comments?
I just, and again, I've said this before, but this year in particular has been probably the most challenging year or certainly one of the most challenging years Mary's had. We've moved over to a new software system. So just the mechanics of doing all of that and the manual labor involved, both Mary and her staff have worked nights, they've worked weekends over the last probably 8 or 9, 10 months. And people only see the results, they get paid and the bills get paid and everything else. But as a neighbor district can attest to, when people don't get their paycheck people notice. And due to a lot of really hard work, that hasn't happened here. So that's a tribute to Mary and her staff.
Any other questions or comments?
I was impressed with the presentation that the auditors gave when during the meeting. It was pretty thorough. Yeah, glowing, yeah. I don't think I've ever been in a glowing, as glowing of an audit.
Lee? Owen? Aye. Childers? Aye. Collins? Aye. Sullivan? Bessler? McGrath.
Aye. I have a motion with respect to item 11, insurance renewal. Thank you. You heard a little bit about this in Sean's report, but you want to?
This is probably the longest insurance renewal we've had in a long time. And part of that is due to the Affordable Care Act, and year after year, all the changes we have to implement with them. But also, we did not have a good claims year yet last year, so we had to do both premium increases and plan design changes, which is something that we don't usually have to do. We're hoping that this year is an anomaly, and we laid all that out. The insurance committee took multiple meetings to go through this, to understand it, to look at the recommendations. We looked forward and did some control mechanisms to try and just get a handle on the prescription drug costs, which between drug cocktails, between specialty drugs, between everything else can go up about 40% year over year. So there's a lot of work we did there. The insurance committee has been working hard and wonderfully, and I would say this even if Mike wasn't here, but it's a good working relationship, a good understanding of what we're facing. And we also are implementing an optional HSA plan. We've been talking for the last couple of years about when's the right time to put in a high deductible HSA plan. And we're looking at this calendar year so that we can establish it, build it, and grow it. And our hope is that it becomes a viable plan over the next several years.
I would second that, and I know we've got not only Mike, but some of our MTA officials here tonight in front and in back. And actually, I would say that our insurance committee, both on the board side and certainly on the MTA side, is the model of what those kind of committees ought to work for. We've been able to work together over multiple years, and even in a really high claim year, and even with the Affordable Care Act conditions coming in, really work together and do a lot of cost containment, and everybody's worked very, very well. It's been a model committee.
And in terms of the plan design changes and stuff, these are positioning us to make sure that we have at least one option that's available that will meet the essential coverage, and we will not have.
Yeah, we will have no issues with a minimum essential coverage or affordability, which are the two components that, as I would like to call, people are going to get their health insurance W-2 this year. So that'll be a whole other educational round for people.
And we're also, the changes are keeping us well positioned to stay under the 40%
yes.
tax. Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, Judy, if you'll take the roll, please.
Sullivan? Owen?
Aye.
Lee? Collins? Bessler? Childers? McGrath.
Aye. And I have a motion with respect for item 12, approval of bids and awarding of contracts. Okay, thank you. Changes, Snyder, can someone?
I can. This is a piece of software that we've been using for several years, and it's just a renewal of that software, which is pretty integral given all of the video content. I think today, as we sit here, the vast majority of bandwidth on the internet is video, and that's, we're using that instructions. So this is a piece of software that we're using to renew.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments? Hearing
So
none?
they're okay for the voting, not just the.
Yes.
We
well. This is a very specific set of software, and unfortunately, in the software business, where, you know, they may have salespeople that cover this territory, but a lot of the software is developed in different places. So it's, especially the proprietary video editing software.
And we got 3 different lists too.
On this one, I'm not 100% sure.
There's an exception in the state paying statute to buying software, hardware, related products. You know, you've got 98% of the software that's going to come out of Silicon Valley. And so they probably had local sales reps, so we probably dealt with a local representative of the company. But the company headquarters, most of them, when it comes to computers, are based in California. The laws are very favorable to them. They don't make a lot of changes. If you ever try to negotiate a contract with Microsoft, you'll find out you don't get anywhere fast.
And this one is one that we use a lot with the Chromebook, so,
3-year deal, so it's reduced, yeah.
Plus, once you make proprietary software to go out, you can't, there's no really not any real way to bid on that. It's, you know, more open source stuff that has some opportunities, but in the proprietary space and something that's, you know, still subject to, intellectual property laws. Are there any other questions?
Just a comment, I think it's a good question to always ask, so we don't ever lose sight of it.
Anything else? Can we go take the roll, please?
Lee. Collins.
Aye.
Owen. Childers. Bessler. Sullivan. McGrath.
Aye. Can I have a motion with respect to item 13, facilities waiver for the Des Moines Park District for the Midwest Gym and Gymnastics equipment?
I'll make the motion.
Audrey, can you tell us about this waiver?
We're forging a stronger relationship with the Park District, and they'd like to use our gym that's already set up for gymnastics. So we're looking to do a waiver for 8 weeks, 5 hours per week, 40 hours total, $800 total that we're hoping to waive, so that if we have situations where we need their facilities, we'd like them to waive the fees as well. We use their facilities, especially when it's springtime and it's raining, and we need space for soccer. And rather than them charge us and we charge them, we're hoping to waive these fees and have the same thing as the original.
And we have all the appropriate.
We never waive insurance, so we will get.
We
will get
certificate
insurance, and they will have waivers as well. Yes.
Does that increase, or exposure, or, I mean, is there?
No, because the certificate of insurance is the same regardless of whether we give you a fee waiver or if you pay full price. Our requirements are the same.
So what's the timeline? Is it in the summertime or what?
I believe
No, it's,
so,
Coming up pretty soon, actually.
October to December.
yes.
Evenings and weekends.
We are getting it approved before they use it, which is a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah, before they use it, yes. They're not using it for,
So definitely we don't have any conflicts. Definitely we don't have a conflict with our students' usage, correct?
there is no conflict. It's actually ideal because it'll be set up for our girls' gymnastics season, and they'll use it in the evenings and the weekends when our girls are not there. So we don't have to take it up and put it down or anything.
Just like other facilities, we don't like, I just counted it.
Gymnastics equipment is expensive.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, if you'll, roll please.
Owen.
Aye.
Sullivan. Bessler. Childers. Lee.
Aye.
Collins. McGrath.
Aye. Item 14, calendar items. Any additions or changes to the calendar items? Okay. We don't see anyone put in the card back there. Sean, could you check and see if anybody had the card there when I was?
No cards.
Nope, okay, thank you. Can I have a motion to go into closed session for purposes of student personnel, review of closed session minutes, and probable imminent or pending litigation? So moved.
I'll second.
Bessler, McGrath.
Aye. Thank you very much for a closed session. Your return to open session, please.
I so move.
Mary? Jim? Okay, Ginny, take the roll.
Childers. Lee.
Aye.
Owen.
Aye.
Bessler. Collins.
Aye.
Sullivan. McGrath.
Aye. I have a motion on items 18A through D.
Second.
Carla? Ginny, if you call the roll, please.
Sullivan. Owen.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Collins.
Aye.
Childers.
Aye.
Bessler. McGrath.
Aye. Are there any other items for item 19? Nothing, okay. Can I have a motion on item 20 to approve of the closed session minutes as amended?
I so move.
Mary?
Second.
Paula? Take the roll, please.
Bessler. Childers.
Aye.
Collins.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Owen.
Aye.
Sullivan. McGrath.
Aye. Can I have a motion on item 21, the recommendation that the Board of Education approve the expulsion of student number 100515-1 from District 207 for the 2015-16 and the 2016-17 school years?
So moved.
Is there a
This is
second?
the one we discussed.
Yes, it is. Is there a second? Terry? If you'll take the roll, please.
Collins.
Aye.
Bessler. Childers.
Aye.
Owen. Sullivan. Lee.
No.
McGrath.
Aye. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Other item, I have two quick announcements, actually.
Oh,
That's that.
I asked. Sorry.
All right. Go ahead. Yes, you agree with the board
Yes?
To entertain other announcements?
Yes, please, if you'll,
I
sorry.
just have a quick two invitation, that I think I sent you an invitation, but on October 10, I'm also a co-founder for Chicago International Dance Company and promoting the worldwide global culture through dance and art. And at the October 11, 3 p.m. at Northeastern University, we will have inviting 14 different cultures of the country to perform a dance festival. And you guys are welcome to come as my guest, which is free of charge for you and your families and friends. Second, November 8th, I'm also a collector, and I'm hosting a Korean War photo exhibition at the Laos Public Library. And I'm having an opening take-home reception on November 8th at 2:30 p.m. And you guys, please, you guys are welcome to join. We're expecting Korean Council General and also Laos Mayor and the few other elected officers and my other good friends. So you're all invited.
2:30 is the ribbon cutting.
2:30, yeah, that's when it starts. So if you can join, go ahead.
I need a motion in a second.
Yes?
Jen, I think, was a second
Okay.
thought, yeah.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.